evening everyone. Welcome to the Trial Mountain Circuit for round 10 of the Track Stars TS2 Touring Car Series. Of course, tonight is our throwback round for the series, so you'll see a number of older liveries getting around. And in the spirit of the throwback round, we've also reunited our second division commentary team in myself and Spud P666, so not sure if Spud's actually here yet, but if you are, good evening, Spud.
Yeah, good evening, gentlemen. It's a bit of a throwback for us, isn't it? Where we both started doing the TS2 coverage back in 2020, I believe, and even the Formula 2s back in 2020, which is the nice little duo combination between us. And then I think there was a time where you just had to stop with the streaming, and then DJ and I got into the commentary booth, and then now we're back together. So how fitting it is to have us together. But yes, we are here for round 10, throwback round at Trail Mountain, a returning Trail Mountain circuit that we finally get to see on Gran Turismo 7. Unfortunately, missed being on the game in GT Sport. It was actually tempted. It was actually very close to jumping on GT Sport, Carmen, but I think they just saved it for GT7.
Yeah, that's probably the first I've heard of that one, so maybe you're a little bit more in tune with what was going on. So, but yeah, that would have been a nice little surprise to see the track included in GT Sport, but it's definitely great to have it back here on GT7, complete with a few small changes to the layout. Of course, that chicane that everyone enjoyed in earlier versions of Gran Turismo, being that really fast left-right, and you could nearly launch your car over the jump through the final corner as well, which was a lot of fun for some people. Unfortunately, that one's now missing, but yeah, now we've got a tighter chicane, a bit more low speed, maybe creating a passing opportunity as well.
Yeah, I believe that chicane and that slower section was actually added in there due to FIA getting involved with the track layout for when they were doing the Nations Cup and Manufacturers Cup, but with FIA putting out from Gran Turismo, and believe me, still keeping that implementation of the slower chicane, or the slower 9-degree corners that we're starting to get used to. There's so many different lines that you can go through there, because it is actually pretty interesting how to actually take it, whether the cars are just going wide and then just back in and try and go to the right as quickly as possible, as we see John completing his lap. But yeah, I enjoyed the fast chicane, especially back in GT6 days, as John crosses the lines. There's a 1 minute 40.3, and Kaiser right behind is only just under half a second behind him.
Yeah, we see KPL Baseman go across the line. He's now down the fourth as Rusty Nut 75 jumps into position 3. And then Robbo Sport now taking over third place, 142.8. Let's see who else is coming through to finish our laps. The WTCC duo of Slappers Mate and Aussie Hypnotic. They go 4th and 5th.
Very nice liveries that the guys from WTCC are sporting. The classic Valvoline colours from the Track Stars Racing Series diecast that we saw also in TS3, mind you. We also saw that from yourself running the Total Wax livery, and then we also saw Renegade running the Equal One lubricant. So it's good to see some throwback retro liveries, and also some teams as well, whether it's not with the Track Stars diecast, some teams are actually making their cars look retro as well.
Yeah, I know. I think Rick Green's actually looked a bit like the Selly's car as well, to be honest. And then, of course, we had later Gator, who fittingly was running the 29, which actually matched the number of the diecast car. Of that Total Wax car, and then of course we had Venti in what was a Vodafone replica.
That's the one. Yes, Venti was running the replica too. Yeah, the boys at It's Racing Esports bringing out their flavours of Track Stars diecast. We're about to have qualifying end very shortly, so we still have John on pole position. Kaizen, who's been showing some really strong performances, still hanging on into P2, and then we have the debutant in Stravos Magpie from Robosport Racing in third place. Actually, now dropping down to fourth because Budsy has moved himself up into second place. What about Slappers, the last time winner out Watkins Glen? Can he move up the grid? He does. P2, and so does Aussie Hypnotic as well. So good teamwork from the WTCC boys, Charlie.
Yeah, they're putting in some fast laps here in qualifying, and certainly I saw them in practice a little bit what was meant to be a TS3 only session, but I think Aussie Hypnotic joined in. He put down some fast lap times in the process, so that was good to watch from him.
Yeah, and the WTCC boys have been gaining some momentum here in TS2 touring cars, where, as we did say, Slappers mate 117 did win last time out at Watkins Glen, and also his teammate in Ando 787 also won the first race. So it was the WTCC whitewash, you could say, at Watkins Glen. So for those guys really getting the packages in from the GTR, from the Nissan factory, and making their GTRs come alive, and we're seeing the GTRs come alive, occupying the top three positions as John is about to complete his final lap. No improvements there. He's not far ahead of Aussie Hypnotic, but now we see Kaizen actually come through, taking a surprising provisional pole position. We'll have to wait and see what happens with the rest of the guys as we look towards Aussie Hypnotic and Slappers Mate 117. They're working very well together to try and work with the slipstreams. Maybe Slappers is punching a hole for Aussie Hypnotic to get himself up towards the front and maybe get a provisional pole position. But it is very close. Budsy 76 jumps up into third place. So beautiful lap there by the man, Fernand in 76. Aussie Hypnotic coming through. Slappers Mate on pole position. Provisional pole. That came out of nowhere. So the man on form on provisional pole, Kaizen in second. And strange and weird enough, John is in third place, not the fastest.
Yeah, probably would have put him as favourite for pole position, but I mean, when it counts, he hasn't quite delivered. But third place is still a very good effort there from John, and probably I wouldn't call it a huge surprise pole position from Slappers Mate, but certainly not one of the favoured drivers. But he's done an excellent job and put in a great lap to take pole position here.
Yeah, that lap came absolutely out of nowhere for Slappers Mate 117. I thought he was trying to help Aussie Hypnotic try and move towards the front, but it actually benefits Slappers Mate to get him some provisional pole position. But it's very close amongst the top few. I believe the top 5 or even the top 6 is only covered by just over a second. So it's really, really close amongst the rest of the fields. I'll just take a quick short break for you, gentlemen, as we're getting our TS2 qualifying back underway.
Yeah, it looks like we're only a few moments away from going racing here, so there's the word from Robosport. A few automated messages, probably giving the hint that we're about to go racing.
Yep, and I was sorry that I just jumped out of there. We just got our third driver for Split 2. Gordox 69 has just jumped in. He will start at the rear of the grid. It's rising for our TS2 race 1 here at Trail Mountain Circuit. We are underway. Slappers Mate 117 still holding on to that first place. Kaizen still in second. There's quite an even start amongst our TS2 drivers. It's all about that first corner as Slappers Mate looks to taking that first place away from Kaizen. John and Budsy holding on to their positions respectively, and Aussie Hypnotic as well inside the top 5. So good even start by our drivers. Very clean And Styric looks to go around the outside of Aussie Hypnotic there, so that caught him by surprise. Styric up 5th.
Yeah, great move there by Styric, getting himself into the top 5 early on in this race. Hopefully we can try and get back to a bit more of a normal camera view as we get onto this back straight here. There we go, it's all working now.
Perfect. So Slapper's mate, man on form, taking that victory at Watkins Glen Race 2, is still in the lead, coming onto the back straight, exiting the tunnel in first place with Kai's and TY in second place, but under pressure from John 27 with a late move on Kaizen. Beautiful move there, kind of puts Kaizen off a little bit, but that makes him lose position to Budsy 76, his teammate in the 76, man that could take the championship lead at the end of the round, Jarman, with only being a few points behind Rusty Nuts. And I don't see Rusty Nuts inside the top 8, so very good signs for Budsy to get himself in the championship lead. But Kaizen goes from 2nd to 4th. Zyric, former MSR driver, in 5th place. Aussie Hypnotic in 6th, and then the debutant in Travels Magpie in 7th. Mad Dog running a very nice race, also from WTCC inside the top 8.
Yeah, and there we see Rusty Nut 75 just in 9th place, so a couple of spots inside the top 10, but certainly not the start to the race that he wants to have if he wants to take over the championship lead after this round.
Yeah, he's not having the best of times in the last rounds for Rusty Nuts, so he's still lacking a little bit of form comparing to what we saw in the first and opening rounds in the championship. So we'll want to see some sort of resurgence come from the 175 or 275. I apologise in the Robert Sport Racing camp. But John is just holding on in second place. He's not really putting too much pressure on Slapper's mate 117. There's no pit stop, no strategy for this guy. It is an all-out sprint, as the title says, trial mountain sprint. Slapper's mate John, Budsy, Kaizen and Zyric inside the top 5, and Rusty Mountain team down below has put himself inside the top 8.
Yeah, we see John has, I'd say he has closed up a little bit, but sort of when it matters as you get to some of those sweeping corners before you get to a long straight, it just, that aero wash just comes into effect and really stops him from gaining in close enough to really get that slipstream down the straight. It's something that really affects both these cars and the main series cars as well. I'm not sure how much it really affects the TS3 cars though. I think there's a slight bit less aero, which makes it a bit easier to follow other cars, as we see the two MSR boys sort of getting close together there in the final chicane, and then of course Zyric just a little bit further back in 5th place, lurking in the distance. Of course, I think he's really nearly considered a member of MSR, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just obviously taking a little bit of time away from the game, but where duty's called and for late substitute for WRT, they needed a driver, so they called back Zyric. So Zyric was an initial member from WRT Motorsports, but then I managed to sign him up towards the start of 2022 to sign up to partner alongside Rugworth in the MSR BL Racing. But yeah, he's back. I think he's come back as an independent, but I still like to call him an MSR driver, even though he's not running the MSR colours. So Zyric right behind his teammates, or former teammates, in Budsy 76 and Kaizen. But the gap is still staying the same between John and Slapper's mate 117. There's no sign of it closing just yet, and John just really likes to stick the nose in pretty late going into that corner there, as we see a couple of position changes move between the back end of the podium position, with Budsy and Kaizen having a nice little battle. John is really hounding the back of the 117 Nissan GTR.
Yeah, he's gained about 4 or 5 tenths in that last lap. It's really closed him up right on the back of Slapper's mate. So he'll be looking for any opportunity to make a move into the race lead here.
Oh, it's really easy to do, just clipping the guardrail on the exit of that final corner on turn 15. It is really tricky to get the perfect run through there, especially when you're following somebody. But what I'm really surprised is, Jarman, how close the field is. Like, you look at all the cars bar the last two in 15th and 14th, everyone was actually on the main straight, so it just shows how competitive TS2 touring cars is, especially with those guys, as John has got a brilliant run coming out of the tunnel. Can't make the move going on the inside into this infield section, but it
Bit of
looks
a
like
mistake
Slappers
there
has
from
clipped the
Slapper.
wall. Slappers has clipped the wall there, hoping John to give him a bit of an invitation to go for an inside move. Doesn't do it. He's going to wait patiently for the tunnel, and he's going to try and get himself a good slingshot run coming into the tunnel and then exiting onto the long sweeper left-hander. John really hounding the back of Slapper's mate 117. So, yeah, I will say, like, the field is very strong. Like, you can see from all those guys. He's right there. Slapper's not defending at all. John going for the late move, going for the late dive. Does he make the move stick? The Slappers go back for a switchback. It's very close. I think John's just held on. He's taking the lead from Slappers mate 117. So the resurgence from Slappers, unfortunately, comes to a halt thanks to John 27 TCT and the number 227 from the Racing Esports team in first place. But Budsy and holding on into third. Sirius made a move on Kaizen in fourth place. And Sirius made a move on Kaizen for fourth. Kaizen inside the top five. Aussie Hypnotic in sixth place. And then Travis Magpie, the debutant from RoboSport Racing, in seventh with his teammate Rusty Nuts behind him in eighth place. But looking outside the top eight, we'll want to see who is fighting for positions. Griffo Tony making a nice welcome return to the TS2 field in ninth place, and RoboSport holding himself in the top 10. So there's a few RoboSport cars inside the top 10, which is nice. Brightworth sporting new colours for his sponsor, Motors Brewery, in 11th place, and then Shadow GT in 12th, KPL Baseman in 13th, and then Devlin and Mad Dog rounding out the top 5. I'm actually surprised to see Mad Dog down there, so something happened. So I can see, lap 2, he had a really bad lap, and that's dropped all the way down to the back of the field. They're very interesting to see. But what is very interesting, Garmin, is that Slackers is not letting go of Jorman's, not getting rid of John whatsoever. He's not letting him fly away just yet.
Yeah, he's certainly keeping pace with him, and he's kept himself within that slipstream. Not sure if he's quite close enough to make a move. Let's see what he does down in the straight. No, not quite enough there to make that dive. So John will hold on to the lead. He'll be aiming to really extend that advantage through the corners, maybe build some of a gap so that he doesn't have that danger of Slappers getting in the slipstream and overtaking him. Although Slappers has really held on to the back of him here. He certainly isn't going anywhere.
He really has. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. He's definitely not letting go. But what I know from Slappers as a driver, in the driver's mind, that I know Slappers is not known to be a very aggressive driver. He doesn't really go for those late moves, or he goes for those inside, what you could say, like dive bomb, or what could be considered a dive bomb move. But Slappers is always there, taking his time, just pulling back a couple of tenths here and there, just to try and find an opening and try and find his way through, get into a position that he can put his car securely in a position where he can overtake the driver ahead of him. In this case, it's going to be John 27. And John's definitely not pulling away, so John is really struggling with the Nissan GTR here. So I wonder, Carmen, because of John's cameos in the main series compared to the Honda and the Nissan, I wonder if John is actually struggling with the equipment that he's been given with his GTR.
Yeah, it's very much possible. He does have to switch between the two cars, obviously, and it's obviously a bit of an adjustment going from the MR layout of the Honda and then the FR layout of the Nissan. Of course, Nissan, I think, probably is the car that has the advantage here in TS2 with the in-game BOP, so it probably makes his job slightly easier to do, but of course he's got to beat the other guys in the Nissan too.
Absolutely, and you look at the guys in the Lexus. So the first Lexus is Budsy 76, second in the championship behind Rusty Nuff, who is in a Nissan. You can definitely see that, especially through qualifying as well, how Kaizen almost suddenly took pole position before it was taken away by Slappers mate 117. But you can see how close they are. Between Budsy and John is only 2.5 seconds, and Sirius is right behind, and same with Kaizen inside the top 5. They've got themselves a bit of a gap over Aussie Hypnotic, just a gap enough over Aussie Hypnotic. The top 5, you could say, in theory, may still have a chance of not taking a podium position, but maybe getting themselves forced on a potential win.
Yeah, you can say any of them really do have a chance here at the moment. All it takes is a couple of mistakes from John and Slappers and maybe a couple of moves here from Kaizen, and all of a sudden he could find himself into the lead very easily. I do have to say, I mean, it's one shout out is obviously Stavros Magpie and sitting in 7th, and I was going to say that early on in this race he looked threatening for a top 5, which would have basically qualified him for main series on his TS2 debut.
Absolutely, and we saw that exact same thing happen with Kaizen, and he's sitting inside the top 5 now. He placed himself in the top 5 at the end of the St Croix 250 as we see a move from Stavros going around the outside. He makes that move stick. He does. A beautiful move there by Stavros, and 6th place now. They're 1 position behind Kaizen in 5th. Definitely rounding out the back there, but John has just started to pull away a little bit from Slapper's mate 117, so the dirty air is coming into effect and it's overheating Slapper's tyres just that little bit too much. And he's actually losing ground. John is losing a lot of ground to John, but he's also losing time towards Budsy and Sirik, so we could definitely see Budsy and Sirik make a charge towards them, but I will say he's only just gained about 0.3 compared to the last lap, so it's very slow progression from guys 3rd to 5th, but they may cause an impact if Slappers has this lack of form coming through as he just runs the car a little bit wide going onto the entry, and just keep that car actually going pretty stick going into it. So obviously, come from a driver's mind jump, just coming out of the TS3 race, what was it actually like with the transition from TS3 to TS2? You found a little bit more excitement coming from the TS3 cars, I imagine?
Definitely like the sound of the V8. That certainly makes things a lot more fun. Especially that rumble of the Lexus too. That certainly makes it an enjoyable experience. The cars have a little bit less aero, so I mean, on their own, they're much more inclined to understeer compared to what the 2016 cars do, but then in the aero, obviously you can handle it a bit better too.
Absolutely, you can really throw the cars around in the TS3 cars. You can really ring them out, and you can just really get them stuck into the corner, and they'll stick despite low aero packages. But with these TS2 cars, you have to be really gentle on the throttle because you have to make the downforce work, especially with the Lexus and the Nissan being the more favourable cars amongst that TS2 field. I apologise. But yeah, you can definitely see how drivers have adapted to the specs in the categories, and thankfully these guys don't have to do any sort of tuning in these cars, so that gives them an extra edge of a little bit of extra motivation to really find the potential of their Nissan, Lexus and Honda.
Yeah, of course, that's one thing as well, like the turbo of the 2016 cars can make a
sorry, I did hear a bit of an accident there. That was Sirik. Yeah, Sirik's coming for an accident, and he's down into 6th place, which actually, funny enough, promotes Stavros into the top 5, and Sirik has just gone from bad to worse, coming under a little bit of impeding from some drivers. I did hear some tyre squealing there. I just didn't know who it was. I didn't know if it was the MSR driver, but it was Sirik, the man in the car 98, from 5th place to 4th place down to 13th and towards the rear of the field. So very unlucky from Sirik after looking very strong in the opening night in those 9 laps.
Yeah, I was going to give him some raps about sitting in 4th, maybe even pushing for a top 3 result there, and before I could even do it, he spinned it in the wall. So unfortunately, fortunately for myself, I didn't give him the commentator's curse, but unfortunately for Sirik, he didn't get to have a commentator's curse to begin with. It just happened on his own.
Yeah, absolutely. But that promotes Kaizen up into 4th place, and that also promotes Stavros Magpie into the top 5. So under Trackstars Racing Series ruling, that'll actually promote him. If positions stay as they are at the conclusion of lap 11, he will be eligible to feature in the main series, to be a reserve driver for Westport Racing, or any driver or any team available for Stavros St Croix. So very good job. Flappers mate 117 is not giving up, Garma. You can see he set a personal best lap there on the last lap, lap 9. John's on a 1 minute 40 flat. So the times are really close amongst these two, and the consistency you can see between Flappers and John is just incredible. I think the biggest gap I saw was only 1.6, and I haven't even seen gone out to 2 seconds.
Yeah, it sort of stayed around that second and a half mark for the entire race, and then just that last lap around, I think the gap really closed in a bit from John to Slappers, mate. Yeah, so about half a second of difference between the two of them in the lap times that time around. And it's really putting John back under pressure here. He's really going to have to defend in this last lap in a bit if he wants to hang on for the win.
It was very interesting to see, definitely not see John last time out at Watkins Glen, and also we actually not seeing Captain Nuff in 88. So it's another time where we don't see the top TS2 drivers, John or Captain Nuff, and even when we had Nudisy, there was one race where we saw all 3 drivers and we saw fantastic racing, but now we get to see a new name challenging John 27 TCT, and that is Flappers mate 117 coming on to the final lap here for race 1 at Trackstars TS2 Touring Cars. John leads the way only just over 0.2 of a second over Flappers mate 117. Really sketchy here, but Slappers is right under the wing. He's lifting the front end arm, and he's doing a Dominic Pareto with his Dodge Charger through the corner. And coming through the tunnel, he's really close to the rear wing of John 27's 227. And the car 117 wants to make the move on the man, but Slaps just tagged the wall there. He's going to lose a little bit of ground to John. But it's all about this run, Jarman. Get the best run out of here, and you'll be getting yourself a really good slingshot coming into the tunnel.
Yeah, Slappers really has that tucked right underneath the rear wing here. He's definitely got the run. And very much got the slipstream and the pace advantage. He pulls alongside and takes over the lead at the moment. It's going to be a battle of the braking down into this sweeping corner here. John tries to hold on, but Slappers mate just gets the move done, and you're nearly going to say that this is Slappers' race to lose now.
Absolutely, he's only got a few corners to go, as I did see in the background. Budsky dropped down from 3rd to 5th. He made a mistake going into the first couple of corners, but it's not over yet. Slappers is going to have to go really defensive into these last couple of corners. Slappers just lose the rear end of his car, 117, in the Nissan GTR versus Nissan GTR for the last time. Last couple of corners to go. Execute this corner, Slappers. Make sure you keep the car straight. But it's all about John, about the run coming on here. Oh, it's going to be close, but I think Slappers has just held on, and he'll take out the victory for race 1 here at the Trackstars TS2 Retro Round at Trail Mountain. Congratulations to the WTCC driver. John 27 had the lead, but lost it on the last lap, unfortunate for him. Tyson T. White takes the podium away from Budsy, and so does Aussie Podic, and Budsy drops down to 5th place after a mistake at turn 1. Unfortunate for him, and Rusty Nutt's right behind him, the championship rivals in 5th and 6th place. Robbo Sport putting on a solid, strong performance there. Shadow GT actually in 8th place, Rugworth, and KPL Basement, so someone's actually dropped down towards the rear of the field there, because those guys have actually moved up pretty quickly, like towards the front there.
Yeah, I think Stavros Magpie dropped down the 14th, unfortunately.
No way. Something happened between those guys, but whether it was a contact between Budsy and Stavros, we'll never know. But one thing we do know, Jarman, Slappers mate 117, he's on a roll.
Yeah, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he actually won at Watkins Glen as well, so that's 2 in a row for him.
Absolutely, it's two on the trot for Slappers mate. Can he make it a 3rd? Can we go for a hat-trick of victories from WTCC? Can they keep their form? And even Slappers mate come towards charging into the championship picture between him, Budsy, and Rusty Nuts. We will find out very shortly as we get ourselves ready for qualifying 2 and for race 2 very shortly.
So do we have a little bit of an update on Split 2?
So Split 2 is coming through lap 12 of 14. We have DRE Hardwire, the debutant, who just missed out from TS2 main split. He only missed out by 0.1 of a second between him and Mad Dog 007 007. So DRE Hardwire, who looks to be in the same category or same team as the Ice Racing Group, and also good companions with Devlin in first place. And then we have Isa Benjo in second place, running a retro livery himself, the Trackstars diecast. And then Gordok 69 from WRT, just missing out in qualifying. Still trying to come to terms with his TS2 Honda compared to this TS3 Nissan GTR. But I'm sure for Gordok 69, he'll definitely find some pace as we see out the remaining rounds of the Touring Cars Championship. So the Trail Mountain Circuit, it's definitely a circuit one, and that is loved by all Gran Turismo players on the PlayStation hardware, where the Trail Mountain Circuit is a fictional circuit that has appeared in all mainline versions of Gran Turismo except for Gran Turismo Sport. It was actually in the developments as well as High Speed Ring to be featured in Gran Turismo Sport, but because they had some technical issues compatibility issues to not get it onto the PS4 and 5 on GT Sport. Unfortunately for those guys, they actually couldn't implement the tracks onto GT Sport, so they decided to wait and hold back for GT7 to arrive, and we definitely got those tracks on the game. But it sets in the mountainous area of Sierra Nevada, and it's almost 4 kilometers, actually 5.4 kilometers long. So the circuit, as you can see, as we saw through the whole race, blind corners, 3 tunnels, long and uphill back straights, and a series of fast compound corners. Seems to be one of you could say an easy circuit, Jarman, but it has its technicalities, but we do see drivers struggle around there.
Yeah, it's definitely one that people struggle with. It's that 1, 2, 3 section really can catch you out, especially if you don't quite get the line right. Just want to double check. There we go, it finally came up. That was a very delayed post of the message from GT7 there.
there anything wrong with GT7? Please do let us know in the comments below. But as we
That'll
get
be one way
ourselves...
to get a lot of comments.
Yeah, absolutely right. As we have qualifying underway, we are about to get 5 minutes for our TS2 drivers to get themselves ready and get themselves set up for another race here at the beautiful Trail Mountain Circuit. As we've just wrapped up the split 2, the victory goes towards CRE Hardwire. So if he's in the chat or if he listens to the stream later on, congratulations. You are an automatic entrant into round 11 at Deep Forest Raceway. So keep your eyes on the Discord, where you'll be placed in that lobby next Sunday night. Congrats to him and the Ice Racing Group for that victory. Actually, funny enough, from Bulgaria as well. So the DRE boys, Devlin from Belgium, and then you have DRE Hardwire from Bulgaria. So it's a mix of variety, a mix of cultures from that team, especially for the Ice Racing Group, obviously short for Intercontinental Esports Racing Group. So I guess in a way the name speaks for itself, just trying to grab drivers from around the globe. Here's one driver we have to really keep our eyes on, Cyric. He'll be looking for redemption in qualifying too. So Cyric was holding on to a really nice P4, could have been a P3, had he stayed behind Budsy, and Budsy made a mistake on that last lap. So Cyric could have potentially have had a podium in his car 51. So Cyric is definitely want to be keeping his eyes on the prize, trying to move himself up towards the front and challenge the likes of John 27 and Slapsmate 117. We know him to be a very fast driver. We've seen him plenty of times in the Touring Cars Championship from for WRT. We'll actually see Cyric in the main series later on this evening. Don't forget about that. Cyric will be a part of the main series for WRT. I've also seen him in the Formula Track Stars as well, alongside myself in the MSR Ashcroft Racing Formula. Bring us mighty performance for that car as well. So coming down, exiting the tunnel onto this heavy braking zone, it's really about trying to keep the momentum of the car, not lose too much speed, because you're going to need that speed going up towards the top of the hill. Going past sector 3, we won't know what his best sector times are, but there was a 1:02 going through that sector. And then there's one of the technical sides of the track where you need to really get the car stopped and stable, so you can work around it, keep the car straight, flat on the loud pedal, and then think about how you can execute this left and right hand chicane as Cyric approaches turn 1, that second last corner and the last corner. Try not to hit the guardrail on the left hand side and keep the car nice and straight. Will he get himself into the 1:39s? No, it's going to be 1:40.3, but a very competitive 1:40.3 there, Jarman.
Yeah, that was a very good lap first up, and it's nearly 6/10 ahead of Kaizen at the moment. Doesn't look like there's anyone threatening to overtake that time at the moment.
Absolutely, that was a beautiful lap time by Cyric. The car looked really well planted on that lap, and Budsy 76 couldn't find any answer at all. He's only 0.4 behind him, but so far Cyric, Budsy, Kaizen, and Stavros inside the top 5. Actually, John's moved himself up into P2, but still not ahead. He's only 0.096 behind him. Behind Cyric in first place, but we don't really know where Slapper's mate 117 could be, because he's not inside the top 8 as well. Osmotic is in 8th place, but where is Slapper's mate 117 as Mad Dog actually improves his lap and goes up into P6? Cyric on a really good lap there as well, so trying to keep the car planted, also trying to improve his pace, also trying to get himself, wants to further implement his status as the pole man for Race 2 Touring Cars Championship. With John 27 right behind, 0.096 behind, Budsy in 3rd, Kaizen in 4th. Can Cyric lower the bar and get that time into the 39s? We haven't seen a 39 yet, but could we see a potential from either Cyric? No, he's definitely not improving any at all. John could be the man that could bring the benchmark down as Kaizen has gone in through. So there's a 40 flat from Kaizen. So the man on form from qualifying and the last race, getting himself onto the podium. Kaizen, a surprise provisional pole position. Let's wait and see what John can do coming into the second last corner. Keep the car steady and clean. It looks like he's kept that very nicely off barriers. Whether that improves to be a good lap time, could we see a 39 from John 27 TCT? No, he stays in third place. So qualifying is not working out for John 27 TCT. That's yet another pole position begging for the man in 227. And one thing I was about to say is I don't see a Slappers mate 117. He's down in 14th, Carmen.
Yeah, that's a big surprise. So the winner of the first race down in 14th, so he's going to have his work cut out for him in race number 2 if he wants to extend his winning streak.
Wow, that is a real shock for Slappers mate 117 to be down the front. And it's a first pole position going towards Kaizen TY, and a beautifully timed for Kaizen to get that last lap in right behind Sirik, not far behind him, learning his lines and getting himself right up towards the front. And Kaizen TY, of course, Steel City Mash Buds Racing takes his first pole position in Trackstars TS2. So see if he can keep that momentum and possibly take the victory away from the likes of John 27 DCT. So we have some audible mentions as well here as we see Robbo Sport and Shadow GT improving their positionings in 6th and 7th, and Mad Dog, which was sitting in 6th place at the time before the race, before he started to drop down a few positions. So even Mad Dog managed to improve a few positions for him. So very nicely done on Mad Dog's end. I believe someone's just dropped out. I believe someone's in the pit lane at the Butsy 76. Okay. So he'll be all right once they get the race underway. But Kaizen TY, the man that's debuted only 3 rounds ago back at St Croix, put himself a very solid performance to be inside the top 5. A beautiful battle he had with Aussie Hypnotic is proving to be a front runner here at Trackstars TS2. A short turnaround for our TS2 touring car drivers between race 1 and 2, but Kaizen on pole with Sirik in second. A beautiful first lap by Sirik, couldn't get the job done. With Sirik in third, John in third, Hudson fourth, and those lights are about to go out, and we are green flag racing. So a solid start by our drivers. Looks pretty clean amongst the front 4, and we're going to want to make sure we see what the back end of the track looks like. Kaizen looks like he's coming under pressure from Sirik, but he just holds on. A little bit of lifting off with braking between Robbo Sport, and he picks up a half second between himself and trying to avoid Stravos Magpie. He does a contact made between the 2 teammates, and that dropped Robbo Sport down to 7th place. The positions between the first 5 have not changed. They stayed the same. Kaizen, Sirik, John, Budsy inside the top 5. Who's that coming under pressure? I believe that is Rugworth that's had a bit of an accident there. So Rugworth Racing in TS2 has gone from bad to worse, and Robbo Sport as well has had a bit of a collision as well. So maybe the two between Rugworth and Robbo have had a collision, and Robbo from 6th down to 14th. A shocking start for the team leader of Robbo Sport Racing, and even Slappers at 117 can't find his way up to the grid pretty fast.
Yeah, a number of drivers struggling early on, but Kaizen still leading the way so far, coming under a bit of pressure from John though. I'm sure John will be looking to avenge his first race after leading a fair chunk of it and losing on the final lap. He'll be
Absolutely
eager to make it one better this time around.
Honourable mention goes to Mad Dog 007 for holding on to 5th place, making the move on Stavros Magpie in 5th place for WTCC. So the first man from WTCC in 5th place. And we look down the rest of the grid. Slappers made a position on Devlin Clip, so in 12th, but not enough to get himself inside the top 10. As I did say, Jarman, in race 1, you can just definitely see how competitive TS2 has become in And everyone is so close and everyone's so competitive as we see Budsy make a move on Zurich, and Budsy is inside the top 3. Just missed that on camera there, but I think Budsy just made that move just before the tunnel, and he secures himself a P3. So John's a bit of is meet in an MS last name with Tyson and John in first and second, Budsy right behind, Zurich in fourth, Mad Dog in fifth, and Mad Dog in first with WTCC drivers, with Aussie Nautic in seventh and Griffo in eighth. But very interesting to see no slappers. But here comes John putting pressure on Kaizen TY. John 27 TCT breaks late. It goes around the outside. Can he hold that position? He's going to have a little bit more momentum compared to Kaizen. But going side by side, and a beautiful move there by John 27 TCT around the outside on the exit of the tunnel. And my goodness, what a move that was from John.
Yeah, he certainly backed himself in there. He had Kaizen going on the defensive, and he just knew that he could hold that more of a racing line and brake as late as he wanted to, compared to Kaizen, who may have just been a little more conservative on the brakes to try and make sure he didn't run wide.
But now Kaizen's turn to pressure on John 27 TCT, and that was leading the championship earlier on. Unfortunately, has had to drop down after missing a few rounds in TS2, but will hopefully try to make himself more towards the challenger come the end of the TS2 championship. And John 27 TCT, all sorts under pressure from the man that's only debuted 3 rounds ago, Kaizen in second place, and then the main championship contender in Budsy 76 right behind his teammate in third place. Zurich still holding on to fourth very nicely after starting P2, has dropped a couple of positions, but we know Zurich to be a very solid driver and a very consistent driver. Unfortunate enough to have that last race go the way it did for Zurich. But anyhow, it is what it is for Zurich. Mad Dog still holding on in fifth place, which is also very nice. And I also see Rusty have to move up into P7 as well, and something has happened for Aussie Product W2CC. Furious battle pack, a bit of a huge battle pack going on here between Rusty, Tony, Griffo. Oh, contact is being made. It's so sketchy. We can see 3 of the Valvoline WTCC cars all fighting it out with each other, all for 7th place. Aussie Exotic still in 9th, lap 10th, and Shadow GT right behind him, just outside the top 10. For Rusty, Griffo, and the whole WTCC gang is all coming after Robo Sports Racing's main man.
Yeah, a lot of side-by-side battles here. That was 3 rows of cars too wide going through that last chicane there. That's something I certainly haven't seen before.
Will Rusty think about a move on Griffo going to turn 1? No, he'll just stick back, he'll just wait his time, bide his time, and try and get himself to set him up into a better position inside try and get himself up into P7. So his teammate up to 6th place, but looks like there's no real challenges being made towards the front, as John is actually still pulling away from Kaizen, and Kaizen, I feel like, is coming a little bit under pressure from his teammate in Budsy. We really can't take our eyes off the German. What a battle pack it is, and it's all for 7th place.
Yeah, it's one of those, I guess, in supercars they say the mid-pack battles are all furious and gloves are off between everyone, and looks like no one's leaving anything on the table here in this battle.
Absolutely not. We're going to go 2 wide. We probably see 3 wide going into the corner. No, it looks like Rusty's going to hold on. He breaks a little bit early, and oh, Jesus, it just looks so scary of who's going to come out in front. And Rusty Nuts has got the momentum up into P7. Griffo drops down to P8. As contact is made between the WTCC drivers in Aussie Product and Griffo, contact between the 2 teammates, and he drops down to 12th place, not where we want to see Griffo after being up in 7th place not long ago. But you can see more drivers trying to get involved. KPL, Baseman, and Rugworth trying to make a charge back up towards the front. And you see Javelin Calypso inside the top now, 15th and last place runner. Battle pack is still raging on amongst these guys. We're going to need to sort it out pretty soon, because that battle pack is running away from the top 6 drivers. well, actually not just the top 6, I believe the top 5, so I'm not so sure who is in 6th place, but they've actually dropped away from, so there you go. So Mad Dog and Stavros are not even near in sight of the top 4, so Mad Dog and Stavros will be battling it out for 5th place, but will be trying to invite the likes of Rusty Nuts and Aussie Bonnick into the battle pack, as we do see Rusty Nuts with a half-second penalty hanging over his head. We're about to complete lap 5 of 11. John still holds the advantage over guys in TY. Budsy 76 in 3rd place. I believe the driver in 4th is Cyric. Mad Dog in 5th. Stavros in 6th place. And Rusty Nuts in 7th. Slaps at 117 is right behind him, and he'll be wanting to wait for Rusty Nuts to earn that penalty away. Because Rusty Nuts really wants to not lose too many positions. 0.5 second can feel like a second, especially when it's on the main straight here, Jarman.
Yeah, it's certainly more like a second, 2 seconds that you end up losing. Although he hasn't lost too much here. He's certainly well and truly in that battle still.
Yeah, that's right. He's only lost 2 positions, but 2 positions is a lot. 9th place compared to 3rd place. Budsy 76 and form in the TS2 touring cars. Budsy 76 after coming off a really nice campaign in the Enduro season, been getting some momentum in the NASCAR's racing team have been talking during the week. He's been really pumped up. He's really excited of what's to come towards the end of the championship. He's actually really excited for the end of the campaign, and he's really trying to push his teammates as well as Tyson to help him out in the championship fight. As we see him move here, Stavros Magpie on Mad Dog 007. So it looks like Mad Dog's time in the top 5 is over. Can Stavros hold on? Can Mad Dog hold it around the outside? It looks to be the favourite spot for drivers to hold up momentum, but unfortunately in this case, Stavros up into 5th and Mad Dog drops down to 6th place, and then we see Slap at 117 on the charge, and now he's coming back. He's finding his feet, he's finding his form, and he's going to try and pull himself back inside the top 5 so he can salvage some crucial points in the championship fight.
Yeah, he's really closed in on these two here in the last few laps, so Stavros may be thinking that he needs to make a move now and try and build a gap so that he doesn't come under pressure from Slapper's mate later on in the race, but might be a little bit too late for him as well.
He won't be making any moves, but about, what did I see, about 9 seconds between Cyric and Stavros. Unfortunately for those guys, a little bit too far of a gap to catch up in about 5 laps time for these guys. John 27 is 3.2 ahead of Kaiser, so John just starting to find a little bit more better form now. He's compared to the pressure that he had from Slapper's mate 117, a bit more of a challenge from the man in WTCC. But John 27 pulling, stretching, making his mark already how we usually know him in 1st place. Tyson, a good honourable mention for Tyson to be up in P2. They're putting on a really nice performance there. There's a battle pack between Budsy 76 and Cyric. Battle for 3rd place on track with Mad Dog right ahead of his teammate in Slapper's mate 117. The Lexus versus the Nissan driver in Slapper's mate will make the move, but no, actually, looks like Mad Dog's going to hold around the outside, so, not just quite. He almost lost out. He almost made it work, but not quite. He's just trying to give room to Aussie Hypnotic as well. Contact made between the 2 drivers, but looks like it's going to be one out by Aussie Hypnotic. Yes. So Aussie Hypnotic and Slappers make the move on Mad Dog, and he's actually going to lose out again to Rusty Nuts. That's nearly 3 positions in a matter of corners for Mad Dog, unfortunately.
Yeah, he just hangs on there from Rusty Nuts, so not quite 3 positions, but he'll still be coming under pressure there.
Mad Dog just holds off Rusty Nuts on that lap after losing 2 positions to his teammate and Slappers and Aussie. Mad Dog in 8th, Rusty in 9th, and Shadow GC inside the top 10. So good performance by the man we haven't seen in a couple of rounds since the Enduro season campaign kicked off, because unfortunately doesn't do Saturdays in racing, so for him he just had to take a little step back and try and get himself ready for Sunday racing again. But now he's done himself really nice inside the top 10. But I will say there's a good battle brewing between second place, because Budsy's not far away from Kaizen, as you can see on the mini map there, and Zurich is really hounding the back of the 76. It's like almost in a way he's trying to push Budsy towards Kaizen, and then in a way Zurich can outsmart the 2 MSR drivers and get the P2 away from them. Budsy 76 and Kaizen representing a retro look in the Steel City Match Buds racing, with a retro colour with blue and the whites. Just getting themselves a really nice fitting retro round at Trail Mountain Circuit. So most of our drivers are getting some good retro colours, or doing the copy of the Trackstars Racing Series diecast cars. And we can see some awesome colours. We did see Icy Benjo in Split 2 run a retro Trackstars diecast livery as well as we saw some drivers in TS3. But now we're going to see a lot of cars with the cars. Oh, Styric! How did he save? Oh, no, he didn't save that in the end. Oh, no! And this can open up an opportunity for Stavros. He sees the yellow flag. Will Styric get out ahead of him just? I believe so, but Styric is going to carry some damage around the track just for a little bit, and that'll bring Stavros closer towards Styric. And Styric, yet again, 2 mistakes in 2 races, and this is not what he wanted.
No, a couple of mistakes creeping in there, and I might say he's just a little bit rusty there after the time he's had out of the car. And he's, struggling to really put together a whole race.
Yeah, he's really trying to find his feet, especially when he comes into the main series later on this evening. Broadcasted at 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time here live and free on Trackstars Racing Series YouTube channel. So he'll need to make sure he finds his form for WRT, and obviously mistakes like that really hurt him in the miss, and now he has to try and figure out how to keep that car stable in the Honda NSX. But we will see him later on. But looks like the top 3 hasn't been changed. Looks like Styric just held on in 3rd place. But we will keep an eye on that battle pack shortly, as Mad Dog comes under pressure again from Rusty Nuts, but not showing any sign of giving that position to Rusty Nuts, with Rusty getting a really good run out of the corner there. Will he go a little bit later on the brakes compared to Mad Dog? He's going side by side. Mad Dog leaves the room. Rusty's going to try and go for a switchback. No, he'll go around the outside. Gets a little bit shoved onto the wall there, and here comes Shadow GT with momentum. He can get himself up into 8th place if Mad Dog is not able to hold on to his position. No, he loses out to, or Rusty Nuts loses out to only Shadows. Shadows right on the back of Mad Dog 007. You can just see the front end of the car there. I don't know if you noticed it in TS3, but the front end of the car really flies off with these cars. It's incredible to see.
Yeah, I noticed it in practice sessions that a few guys were lifting the front end up as they headed into turn number 3, and I even felt it a bit myself, that you just lost weight and feeling in the front end basically when the car picked up. So it's something you have to be careful to really hit the right mark, so that you don't hit that hump in the wrong spot and lift the front of the car up in the air.
Absolutely. So it's definitely something for drivers to really experiment when it comes to the main series, and how to tune the car to not lift the front end. But what we can see here is the MSR drivers in Budsy and Kaizen really trying to push each other, trying to get some good lap times in. Budsy's getting himself into the 1 minute 40s, 1 minute 40.2. John is the first driver inside the 1 minute 39. So there we go. 39 has been broken, and it's been broken by John 27 P60. Kaizen in second. Styric is still holding on into 4th place, ahead of Stavros and Slappers mate 117 after a very good recovery drive by the WTCC driver, car 117. So Slappers mate 117 holding on to 6th place very nicely, but is going to be putting pressure on the man in 5th place from Robbo Sport Racing. So the man that was driving for Robbo Sport Racing with the touring cars in Eurosuit is now going to be putting pressure on the new signee from Robbo Sport Racing. Is really trying to get himself really close, set himself up a really nice exit going into the tunnel. He just treats the car a little bit too wide there, so he's losing time. He was just lost a little bit of time to Stavros in 5th place. A one man, not under pressure at all, took the lead from Kaizen at the commencing of lap 2. Hasn't looked back at all.
No, it's been a very great performance here from John. Stretched the lead out over 5 seconds in this race. Really put it all beyond doubt, and with the misfortune of Slappers qualifying badly, it's really going to secure him the round win here as he comes out the final corner. It's going to be John 27 TCT who comes across the line to take win in race number 2 and a round victory here at Trail Mountain.
A mighty fine performance by John 27 TCT, as well as the MSR boys in Kaizen and Budsy 76 rounding up 2nd and 3rd place. Zurich is able to just hold on to 4th place, and Stavros in 5th place on debut gets himself that automatic qualification to be a main series driver. So well done to the newest signing from Robbo Sport Racing. Travis made Aussie Hypnotic and Shadow actually got ahead of Mad Dog, so that's a bit of a win there for Shadow GT to get himself over inside the top 8. So beautiful job by the man in the 3rd Steel City MSR, with Griffo in 14th, and unfortunately put Devlin rounding up to 15 drivers this evening. So there's really good clean racing amongst the field, Jarman. Some good battle packs. I didn't really see too many major contact amongst their drivers.
Yeah, really good effort from everyone. It seemed to be kept very clean, and it was very much bunched up amongst the entire field. And it's certainly good to see, especially as you get more drivers coming in and have them probably push each other to a higher level of driving. They sort of close up to each other and make the gaps look smaller as well.
Absolutely right. And something I like to do new here before we end off the broadcast, we're actually going to introduce our driver of the round, Jarman. So, seeing you as a commentator and as maybe you can be biased or non-biased, who would you pick as your driver of the round here at Trail Mountain?
I think I'm going to have to go with Kaizen here, actually, because he's come in and done a few races and basically scored a podium result here tonight, so that was a very great effort there from a new driver to the series. Probably an honourable mention to Stavros Magpie as well, probably a close second in that.
Yeah, absolutely. I will definitely give my my driver of the round to. I'll definitely give it to Stavros after what was going to be a really good P5 in race 1. Unfortunately for him, was not able to capitalise on that P5 and finished in P13 in race 1, but managed to haul himself back inside the top 5. I would have given it to Cyric, but unfortunately for Cyric, making a couple of mistakes there in race 1 and race 2, if he just held on, he could have held himself a P2 and a P4 at the end of this round 10. But yeah, definitely give my hopes up. I give my praise to Stavros and also John 27 TCT, second and a first for the It's Racing driver, and really trying to work his Nissan to its full potential. That is it for our TS3 Touring Cars Championship. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Trackstars Racing Series YouTube channel. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. Join us in just over an hour's time as we bring you live for the Trackstars Touring Cars Championship, the Trail Mountain 250, where we'll be bringing you live and free on YouTube, and we'll get to see 46 laps, one race, and one winner, the overall winner, who can take it out for the Trail Mountain 250 retro round in Trackstars Racing Series. So join us then. But until now, and until we see you at Deep Forest Raceway,